Hello. How are you guys doing today? Good. It's good to see all of you. All right, so today I'm going to be giving my testimony and sharing with all of you. Gil's over there laughing because I just did my testimony in Spanish and then I found out I was doing English. So just be glad I'm not improvising the Spanish and the English instead, because no one would know what I was saying if this was in Spanish, including myself. So here we go. About 3 years ago, I started, well, it's 3.5 now, started working for Road to Purity. Before that, I had a very severe addiction to pornography, had severe sex addiction, also had an addiction to alcohol, video game, you name it, I probably had an addiction to it. And that brought me to a point where I realized I couldn't live like that anymore. That wasn't an option, because if I just kept living like that, I was gonna not want to be alive anymore. Sadly, I got to that point of desperation where it was so bad. I was looking at pornography up to 3 times a day. I was struggling to stay pure in any sense of the word. And I was going in and out of the confessional like it was a revolving door. So I reached that point where I reached out to God through what I call a foxhole prayer, because I didn't know where else to turn. And I asked God for help. I begged him for help. I said, Lord, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Please help me. And so for about 2 weeks, I looked online for a program to help me break free from pornography, from the sex addiction, from lust, from all of it. And I turned up empty, couldn't find anything. Everything seemed to either cost money or it wasn't Catholic. And those were all barriers for me. Those were all problems for me, because I knew the only truth was right there. And he was the only one who was going to set me free. And so another thing I did during this time was I started going to adoration for an hour every Friday. And I went with my dad, who's sitting right over there, and he's been a big part of my recovery. So thank you for being here and supporting me as well. After those 2 weeks, I just kind of threw up my hands. I was like, all right, God, I don't know what to do. You know, I'm looking, but I can't find anything. And so I kept praying, and funny enough, a friend of mine came back from a Matt Talbot retreat. He was in Alcoholics Anonymous with me, and he wasn't Catholic, didn't even believe in God, actually. And he went to this retreat, and he came back, and he handed me a bunch of cards that said, Restoring God's Foundation, Catholic Men's Integrity Program, sign up now for free. And I'm not gonna lie, my jaw did drop when he said that God told him he should bring those to me. Because, I mean, a man who doesn't believe in God, what's he doing, you know, bringing me cards for a Catholic program? But it was the greatest miracle for me, because it was the start of a new chapter to begin, you know, healing and really breaking free from something that is so devastating. It's been so devastating in my life. And so from there, I signed up for this program, and made a 15-minute consultation call with Dan Unks, who's the president and founder of Road to Purity. And we ended up talking for 45 minutes. He walked me through what I could do every day to start breaking free, to start living a new life, and to begin my healing process. And from there, I actually ended up volunteering for Road to Purity, and started helping with their Simon community, which we have to this day. Dan asked me to start up online groups. So we have groups now, which is pretty exciting. We just got to the point where we have meetings every day of the week on Zoom. And so volunteering took up quite a bit of time, but then he asked if I would work part-time for them, and I agreed. And then from there, it just kept growing, and I started working full-time, which is what I do now, being the Director of Clergy and Community Partnerships, starting up groups within the Diocese of Orange. But one thing I don't want to get too far away from my recovery, because while things are so much better now, I do still kind of want to dive into a little bit of where I was at and another turning point for me. So if we go back to when I was first working through Restoring God's Foundation, I was still actually struggling with alcohol. And I knew that alcohol was intertwined with pornography addiction. Because whenever I would drink, it would make it very difficult for me to stay in a state of grace and stay in a place of purity. And I actually ended up having a dream one night that was so profound, it really altered so much in my mind where I was at and where God wanted me to be. And so I remember I went to bed one night, knew I had an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting in the morning, and one of my buddies was going to pick me up and we were going to go to that meeting. And I remember having this dream where I was in Arizona in this dream, because that's where I was living at the time. And I was in downtown Phoenix, and I started walking up to this bar. And I get there, and the bouncer asked me for my ID, and I remember opening up my wallet, couldn't find my ID, couldn't even find a credit card, couldn't find anything. And the bouncer said, well, I can't let you in. So I remember turning around, walking across the street, and as I'm walking across the street, I feel this presence next to me, and it was almost felt like my guardian angel. You know, it was a very holy presence. And I just remember looking at this person next to me and looking in their eyes and them saying to me, it's a good thing you didn't go in there, meaning the bar, because we need you out here. And then all of a sudden my dad woke me up and I was late for the AA meeting. I needed to get in the car with my friend and go. But that moment right there, hearing those words, we need you out here, it just felt like a calling for the start of a mission that is still being seen out and to this day. I mean, I know God doesn't necessarily need me, but I know that He wants me to be a part of His plan. And I know that by opening my heart to Him, I can follow His will each and every day to the best of my ability. And I have to ask for His grace every day as well, because without Him, I can do nothing. But with Him, I can do all things that are possible within His design. And so it's just such a privilege to be a part of this Catholic Men's Fellowship group with Gil. I mean, he's just been phenomenal in every way. I'm always inspired by him, the way he evangelizes, the way he upholds himself within his family. So just thank you so much, Gil, for allowing me the opportunity to be up here. I think I have a couple more minutes, but I won't take too much longer, or else I know I'll get that, hey, let's wrap it up. But just want to share with you guys a little bit more about Road to Purity and what we're doing, just so you guys can have an idea. If you're looking for yourself or for someone else, we do have, like I said, the meetings online. So those are 7 days a week at varied times throughout the day. And then we also have in-person meetings. We have one at Our Lady of Guadalupe in La Habra. We have another one at St. John the Baptist in Costa Mesa, another one at Holy Family in Orange. And you can actually find out about those meetings by stopping by the table. And we have a whole group me, we post every week, let you know when the meetings are. But the other reason why I brought that up is because if you guys want to have a meeting at your churches, you can reach out to me and we can make that happen. I train facilitators on how to lead meetings. And if you want to have a meeting, once a month, once a week, whatever it is, that can all be adjusted for, and we can make that happen. Because there's a lot of guys out there, let's say you've already broken free and you don't struggle with pornography or sex addiction or any of that, but you did at one point and now you're not. You can be, that hand of God reaching out to a soul who's still struggling, reaching out to a brother who doesn't want to live anymore, and you can be the instrument that God uses to save that person from sure damnation, Like we can be His instruments of love and mercy and start to bring peace into people's lives. And we're called to do that, as sons of God. This is our calling. We are called to be Christ to those around us. And so if you're open to doing that, that's another great option. If you have a little bit of time where you want to be of service, not only if you're not struggling anymore, but if you are struggling, what better way to get out of an addiction than to be of service to those men around you and find your own healing, your own identity within Christ. So I'm going to wrap it up here, but I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be here. Please come by and see me. Even if you're not struggling with pornography, you don't want to talk about anything, just come by. It'd be great to talk to you, get to know you. And thank you again. God bless all of you and your families. Thank you.